So I've spoken about this topic on my Instagram before, but I wanted to add some layers to this on this channel. So if you're a strength coach or you're an athlete, you've definitely heard the term minimal effective dose before. And I want to uncover some of the ideas that I have in relation to that term right here. So one of the first things that comes to my mind is, how do we even know what the minimal effective dose is? And how are we getting to the point where we know what exactly it is? What are we using to measure that? Minimal effective dose is always changing. As far as readiness goes, if your diet is good or bad, the sleep status, the readiness status, the psychosocial status of your athletes, these things are changing all the time, and they impact the amount of volume that it requires to elicit a training effect. If someone is highly engaged to their training and they're performing quality reps, it is going to take less of that to elicit the training effect that you want, more so than if they were not prepared or not engaged and they were not achieving what you wanted them to achieve at the best of their ability with the maximal output and intent that you're looking for. So the dose that's required to do certain things in the gym and to move the needle is going to change, because those things manipulate and they change the intent of what's happening. And if the intent is changed, the quality is also then manipulated in a negative way. So that's reason number one why I think it's a strange term that we throw around a lot. The second one is that we need to make a very important distinction. There is a dose required to, one, elicit a training effect, but there's also a different dose which far surpasses the amount that you need to do to elicit a training effect, and that's the amount you need to do to prepare for a competitive season. If we look at minor league baseball, for example, 130 plus games in a single year. If you are constantly doing the minimal amount that it takes to get you faster or stronger, you are never going to meet the demands of what an average week in professional baseball looks like, okay? Some of these players are running over 1,800 to 2,000 meters of high-speed running a week, okay? But there are many athletes who can get faster with simply 3 30-meter flies in 1 week. Okay, those volumes are not even remotely close. So you can't compare the dose you need to elicit a training effect to the dose you need to prepare for a season or an average week or even an average game. You can train at high speeds, but you need to train to replicate that over the course of a game, over the course of a week, over the course of an outing. The same thing goes for pitching or pitch counts. You can't just get to a certain throwing velocity or get a certain feel on your pitches and say, oh, I'm done. No, you need to ramp up to the point at which you are prepared to endure the physical load of what you're about to do for the entire year. Okay, so those volumes are extremely different, and it's very important that you understand that when you're preparing for your season. The third one is really very similar to number two, but it's being unprepared for the worst case scenario. If we are always doing the least amount that we need to do, we are not going to be robust to situations where we are tasked with more than what is normal or what we are accustomed to. This is going to happen in sport. You might have extra inning games. You might have 2 extra inning games in a row. There was a weekend where I coached in minor league baseball. We had 4 extra inning games in a row. The players were smoked after that. Okay, but how often does that happen? Not so often. So we put that to the side because it doesn't happen often. But God forbid it does, now we're in trouble. So those 3 things are really important. I think that we live in a day and age now where everyone is afraid to overwork because we're so hyper-focused on readiness scores and our Whoop bands that we are now completely detached from actually making progress. Okay, it's okay to be a little sore. It's okay to have bumps and bruises along the way. You're going to heal and you're going to survive. We need to stop being afraid to work so that we're actually prepared.